Welcome back. 3 maps down, only 1 more to go. Wildcard and Noble to play off for our final match on this Friday night, or potentially wherever you are in the world, of course. But, Raven, we cannot go past without mentioning how crazy the results have been tonight.
It has been nuts. We were just commenting about the schedule graphic in the break. Just if you were to say that's what the results were going to be, totally unexpected. Just the Ferox win in Series 1, the absolute stomp of Series 2, and then the closeness of that third one. Just pretty nuts.
It's been mental. It's been an absolute ride, and it's only about to get better. And that's because Wildcard are on the scene. They will be playing off against Noble, of course, the team that most of you in the chat will probably know more so than most. Diesel, the new recruit of Vincia, Imorin, Pat, Geo, and of course Flux and Silix in that coaching role. I don't really know if there's too much that needs to be said about Wildcard here, Raven.
Look, I think, their success speaks for itself, and the strength of these players all does as well. And it's hard not to note Vincia being the newest addition to the roster, an incredibly strong player in his own right. An incredibly exciting matchup here because he will be against his former roster on Noble. So whether that plays a factor in how he performs could be an interesting thing to keep in mind. Storylines, my friend. That's what we love to build here. Noble is the team that Wildcard are facing, as previously mentioned. Now, I'm not going to go on from your comment there, Raven, but it is going to be somewhat of a grudge match, of course. This team right here were able to finish second in the regular Six Masters season of last. So there is definitely a fair bit of competition, if you will, between these two teams. Yeah, absolutely. Noble are a team fighting to achieve more and more each season. They finished top 4. They didn't quite make it to the major, which they were definitely anticipated to make. So here they are again trying to build on top of that into Oceanic Nationals and try get to a higher position. What better way to do so than to not only beat Wildcard, but of course the player that has jumped ship to Wildcard.
And what a player he is. Vinny is feared by most, and I'm sure missed by everyone on Noble. So this is going to be one of the more interesting matches of our 2 play days that we've had. We've had some very close matches, don't get me wrong, but this is probably one that we were all looking to see how these 2 teams would perform after last season. And I think that, you know, the past 2 matches that they've played against each other kind of speak for themselves. 7-4 on Clubhouse and 7-5 on Theme Park. So 2 incredibly close matches there, Raven.
Worth saying too, that was all the way back in Six Masters Day 1, which was April 28th. So it has almost been 5 months since these guys have played each other in an official capacity at least. So I think that's quite huge. On top of that, Noble have actually never beaten Wildcard. I went back as far as Raleigh qualifier stats, and they've only ever had as best as a draw. So this would potentially be the first time they get a dub over Wildcard, if they manage to pull it out tonight, of course.
The Raleigh Major, that has a special place in my heart, Raven. That's where we cast for the first time. Anyway, enough with our love story. Do you have... You're shocked. Come on, man. How do you not remember our anniversary? Any thoughts on the veto here, Raven?
I think Kafe might be a possibility. Something that Wildcard are definitely good at, as well as Noble. It's hard to say how the additions would potentially change that.
Yeah.
But that's definitely one that's sticking out for me. Clubhouse is also a solid favorite for Noble in particular. But Wildcard have posted some great results on it. So I'm thinking Club or Kafe, classic Oceanic maps to come through.
Spicy meatballs. Let's have a look at where we're heading. Getting delirious now. Let's have a look. I think one thing that we mentioned on the reload was the fact that Vinny, obviously being on the roster right now, can give some insight as to map pool or strats that potentially they were running last season. Kafe, it is. Raven, you are a god in the predictions. Apparently only half the predictions though, because the rest of them we're just doing atrociously with. Anyway, Kafe, my friend, that's where we go.
Kafe. Look, I'm excited to see how this goes because
Wildcard have had some inconsistencies on Kafe in the past. So they did have an 8-7 against Okami. No, 7-5, sorry, against Okami back in Six Masters. So they have been challenged on the map before.
Yep.
Noble have had some great performances on it too. So I think this could be a close map. Feel cursed though. Last time I said that was LFO Knights, and wasn't quite that close.
Didn't really go that well for us, did it?
No.
No. Well, the community had that game picked at 53 to 47% in favor of the Knights, and the Knights ended up pulling this out. 76% to 24% in favor of Wildcard. I think that's a fair representation of the community's vote, because I still think that Noble have a very good chance in this series, and I don't want to understate that. They have and will continue to be one of the best teams that we have in the ANZ region. So this is a very good opportunity for them to show it. It's a best of one, and it's pretty much everything out on the line at this point, Raven.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard to look past the strength of Wildcard. It's just something that's really hard to predict against. But at the same time, Noble are a team that have pulled out innovative strategies before and surprise victories. So it's definitely in the realm of possibility in this matchup.
Yeah, when I think innovative, I think Nico, 100%. That's
yes, exactly.
I remember some wild things happening on I think it was Coastline the last time I watched what was back then the Sinister roster. I think they brought Finkers and Lions and just destroyed the upstairs flooring. So I mean, to be fair, I'm not really 100% sure what I'm strapping myself in for here. We have seen a lot of interesting things being pulled out from Nico. I think we saw on Villa one of the Banshees across toward main stairs, you know, being pushed up on top of the railing. I'm very interested to see what they can do to kind of throw Wildcard off here, and if they can, that's a very good point as well.
Yeah, and look, Wildcard, they had a pretty strong Wednesday against Rhythm, but Rhythm, sorry, I don't think it was Rhythm. It was I'm starting to get delirious. It was LFO. But they had cracks in their armor. I think that there's still some vulnerabilities there, maybe that have come with just getting Vinny back into that roster. So I wouldn't say that Wildcard are full strength right now. So definitely, if there was a chance for Noble to strike, it would be now. On the other hand, I wouldn't say Noble's full strength either, because they are also grinding in a new player in President, and he is very green to this level of play. So that could arguably take even longer.
It certainly is a game that really have a lot of pros and cons for both teams. So let's have a look what our experts are thinking of this one. We're all going Wildcard, but then again, when did that possibly go wrong tonight, Raven?
Look, it almost blew up in her face again in that last series. That's all I could think about, honestly. But we bucked the bad omen business here, so I'm not too worried about it now.
We certainly have. I hope that we can continue to buck that trend, but it is Wildcard flush across the entire 7 of us, and of course you at home think it's pretty much the same. And again, we're not trying to discredit Noble, but Wildcard, they just have the history, they just have the power, and well, to be honest, I think they've got the influence on it as well, Raven.
Yep, hard to look by it, Manic. So here we go into Kafe Wildcard versus Noble. Final game for the evening. I'm excited about this one. This is what I anticipated to be the tightest clash of tonight. Hard to top the last match, though, that's for sure.
I don't think we can. I don't think we're ever going to. But, of course, complimentaries, good luck, have fun in the chats. It is time to get started on Kafe Dostoyevsky. Sledge will be taken off as a first point of call for Noble, and of course I think that's in all honesty, this one right now, this match in particular, we were all so uncertain on how close it was going to be, and I think we all want it to be close because this has the potential to be an absolute barn burner, but it could really just flip on its head here. And I think that, like you were saying, there are kinks in the armor on both sides. So it's kind of judgment day for both of these teams in terms of the regular season anyway.
Absolutely, Manic. Wow, there are some great bands here. I've just been calculating this in my head. This is the second Sledge band, which honestly I have not seen Sledge band much, and tonight we've seen it twice.
Yep.
I'm not sure whether there's something in particular behind that I am missing right now. I'll totally admit that I might be overlooking it, but seems like a pretty indispensable band. Maybe it's just more of a comfort thing, but I'm really vibing the Wamai and Valkyrie bands on defense. I think that really will hinder the defense a little bit, because Wamai in particular is one that's really leaned on for this top floor defense.
IQ, Zofia, Castle, Mirror. Interesting. As we head to the upstairs area now, not going to say by any means that the first round is going to be a telling tale, but obviously both of these teams getting off to a good start is going to be absolutely crucial in this matchup, especially. Now, I really would like to look back on that 7-4, 7-5 these two teams had, and I do think that in many ways, Sinister and Wildcard are relatively one of the same in terms of, you know, being able to perform under pressure, Raven, being able to perform when push comes to shove, and you know, it getting closer, rather to the scoreline being a little bit closer. However, it unfortunately doesn't show true when Sinister were unable to go through the bracket for the playoffs, but I think the point still stands that the ex-Sinister, now Noble, full Noble roster, just are someone that you definitely do not want to underestimate by any means.
Absolutely. I think Noble are definitely one of the rosters here in this region that seem to always have... I feel like every time I watch one of their games, at least, there's some kind of surprise. They've pulled out something that's a little bit innovative, or just something that's a bit tricky. You highlighted Nico in particular. He's very well known for finding just weird and crazy stuff that just works out for him. But just some of these players can just pull out some of those special plays that just seem to turn matches. So
yeah,
I think they're exciting roster to watch, and I think that's something that makes this match particularly exciting, because Wildcard with a lot of structure, they might be able to find something that destabilizes that.
Without a doubt. Now, having said that, we must give credit where credit is due. Vinny, obviously not the first technical official, but the first official under the Wildcard banner with the official announcement, played pretty unreal on Wednesday night. So all eyes will be across to the Wildcard camp. Already flushing Fisher away from Pixel, even if it's just for now. 4 players repelling on that west side. They're not taking any chances with that.
And that's the real impact of that Wamai ban. That's really where that Wamai can excel. It's just holding Pixel with those magnets. It just takes so much time to be able to clear it out. So that's really efficient from Wildcard. It's that ban working in their favor. It was their ban. So now they've got quite a lot of time to try and take some piano control.
Oh, Fisho just needs to be cautious. Smoke Bay will eventually push the Wildcard member away, as the ADSs will continue to burn any utility coming in. So being cautious of the white stairs push, rather the rappel onto that window. A minute really burnt off the clock here, Raven. Has there really been a lot done from Wildcard? That's the question.
Not really. I mean, Geo has started to take some control around Cigar, but it looks like the rest of them are basically on the roof, so they haven't been able to display Snowball a whole lot. And Noble are pretty set up to be able to anchor this in, so this could be a real hectic finish here. Might come down to a lot of an impact if Vinny can get a rappel in on that cocktail balcony. He might be able to get a couple of picks that really destabilize those positions.
Well, with 20 seconds left, the only time is going to tell, Raven. Now things start to heat up a little bit more for Wildcard. Diesel now starts to come and meet with the rest of the team. He's going to go deep behind the bar as well. They're going to continue to push. They find 2 apiece. It's Derp who manages to only find the 1. Actually, sorry, make that 2. Shut me right up quick, smart, and in a hurry. They are going to have to stick this. They can't manage to get through. Geo will go down on the back of Derp, pushing, but it won't make a difference with Nico closing out on Emo and Diesel on that Cigar Belk flank. My goodness. That was mighty intense there, Raven.
It was, and it was always going to be, just because Wildcard did not have a whole lot of control, so it just meant exactly what happened. Diesel had to go deep, or somebody on Wildcard had to, and once they got that opening, it was just about trying to hold the rest of Noble back, but in the end, Wildcard they didn't have enough footing, they couldn't cover everything. So yeah. Great round from Noble, great defense. They never overextended. I think that was a really important factor to that defense succeeding. They did not give Wildcard a pick. So when it came to that last 20 seconds, it just was all hell breaking loose.
Understandably as well. Vigil being picked up as we head to Kitchen.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
The two matches that we were able to see from... sorry, I am completely losing my mind right now. It is Pittsburgh Knights on this were very, very heavily favoured onto the defensive side. So... Noble continuing that tradition thus far. Now, you were saying things are starting to even out a little bit more, Raven, on this map. Wait and see what Noble have to say about that. But so far, pretty good promising signs.
Yeah, I think it's a really important round for them to win as well. It's always great to win the first round just to help settle some nerves, just relax everybody. Relax probably isn't a great word for it, but, you know, everyone chills out just that touch more. You know, like, when you start an official, one that's as important as this one as well, sometimes you can be a bit agitated on edge. That round win for Noble, I think, is really important for settling that mindset.
Yep. I can understand that completely. So... wait and see how Wildcard approach this. Obviously, in the previous round, it's very true to their form. Quite slow in their approach and then explosive toward the end. Obviously, that round wasn't very successful, but nevertheless, Wildcard are very well known for not rushing into anything particularly. You saw Milo there, just on the other side. A bar! Oh. Talking about not getting aggressive or trying to make a play, Emo Rin, he's had a haircut. Thank you very much, President. He'll run away for free.
I don't think Emo Rin was quite expecting it either. Didn't look like it, at least. President is a great shot, so Wildcard on the back foot again. And to your point, Manic, about Wildcard definitely not being a team to rush to anything. Not really, but definitely as their roster has progressed towards its current form, they have added players that can facilitate that. So Pat and Geo are definitely players that are not afraid to take heads-up gunfights or try and be aggressive. And Vincia now is just another one to that list. Yeah. So I think in the long run, it's something that we will see Wildcard really get on top of.
I think that's a very valid point as well. Obviously, Vinny brings just another level. Losing someone like Ethan is not an easy loss by any means, but Vinny, obviously, probably you'd have to say one of the best pickups in the region for Wildcard to replace what was an immense firepower for them. So,
yep.
And Vinny's proven his worth so far, and I have no doubt it will continue, but Noble... how much are they going to take it to them in this game? Only one loss in 14 games for Wildcard last season. Wonder whether that trend will continue down the line.
So far, I mean, this round's not looking good for them. They've lost a lot of HP. They're about to come into, again, a last second rush to site, but they have not had any luck getting picks on or obtain mini control. Geos is going to flash himself. Not sure what Fisher Guy's doing, Manic. Here is the last 15 seconds.
Vinny, look, finds that second opening there, and it could be on, but unfortunately, it really slows everything down, because now it's looking like it's going to be one prone attack. Geo does fall, and what's happened there? Actually, Pat, sorry, for a second, that really quite took me by surprise, in all honesty. I was kind of still trying to scramble to figure out what had actually happened there, but a 1v1 right at the end of their running toward each other, potential for that to happen, but nevertheless, I think those late rounds are really not giving Wildcard a lot to work with, Raven.
No, they're not. They're not setting themselves up very well to be able to execute at that stage. They had vertical control, but they weren't working the picks. So I think again this is going to be credit into Noble in that they're staying quite patient and generally just not giving Wildcard much. That's why I was really confused when Fisher Guy was just running through Bakery at the end there. Like maybe he was just going for a bit of a flag. I don't know, but either way, Noble are just doing well and not giving Wildcard enough. It's really countering the way that Wildcard are attacking.
Yeah. And again, there are potentials there. Like, I mean, if you want to put a big if Vinny manages to catch that player just on the other side of prep window, that's another kill, and all of a sudden they've opened up kitchen. Service is a little bit more under pressure, and that push from Wildcard becomes a little bit more of a challenging angle to deal with, if you will, with Vinny just making a nuisance. So there are always little bits and pieces along the way that, had they have twisted in the favor, would have completely changed the round. But for now, Noble, they are looking pretty good on these defenses, you'd have to say. I think two of the players lined up at the end for Pat or Geo, maybe it was Geo, but regardless, sometimes it can be a stroke of timing that gives you the upper hand, and timing is something that Wildcard are severely lacking right now.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that Wildcard need to start doing. They either need to just try and just be a little bit more aggressive, work a bit faster, because what they're relying on is just catching Noble off guard and getting those picks, or just moving Noble into positions to make mistakes. But I think they have to be more forthcoming with that, or more forceful on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping that Wildcard can open the scorecard halfway, or now, thanks Geo. That'll do.
Ask and ye shall receive, Raven. Your prayers have been answered, and with that, Wildcard do what Wildcard do best. They find the opening kill and they relax. They have not really needed to pick up any sort of pace now. The pressure is on Noble to try and hold off these pushes. Up a minute 40, and this is a lot better in terms of timing for Wildcard.
It is. They have some really good control right now, and they can really build on this. Get Geo above, get vertical pressure into Train in particular, get President out of there. That's a really key part because it gives you access to both bomb sites, gives you a lot of flexibility. So, oh no, that's going to be a great shot from President though. So there goes that option. 4 versus 4 now, Manic, and maybe that's going to make them stall out a little bit more.
I think it might actually double that up. Nico finding Diesel. Oh my word, make that a double. Fisho just putting a ribbon on it at this point. And Emo, I mean, we have seen Emo in some pretty unreal situations, but this is even a tall order for him. A very much needed round for Wildcard just continues to dwindle away here as the time just ever so quickly releases from the grasp of them.
Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds for Imran to do this, but for 3 to find, and something we've highlighted so much is just the patience of Noble. They're not giving Emo any chance right now. Like, no one is running for this pick. They're all holding just angles and crossfires. So, dare say it's going to be tough. Ooh. That was a good little attempt on the drop, but no, not to be. Noble close out the round, and that's 3 in a row. They're looking pretty good, Manic.
Yep. They certainly are, and I think it's one thing that we definitely need to highlight is Noble aren't really giving Wildcard anything, but at the same time, they're not afraid to take those fights, right? We saw President taking down, I think it was Emo Rin in the round before on Cigar Balcony, taking an aggressive line from Pillars, and then in that round, it was President who, actually it was President again who caught Geo off looking through the hatch. So by no means are Noble, just playing defensive and turtling at all. They are more than happy to take those straight up gunfights, and Wildcard are definitely coming out second best on pretty much every occasion here. So let's have a look. Noble are definitely making their money's worth. And you know what, Raven, while we do have a quick second in prep phase, Livin is obviously the sponsor or partner, if you will, with Oceanic Nationals at the moment. And it's definitely, I think, a message that a lot of the gaming community should be welcoming to see, which is, you know, like it is okay to speak out and to talk about your mental health, and obviously to seek help as well. And I think that it's something that we should all be encouraging a little bit more. And potentially I may have left this a little too late in the night, but I thought better late than never. And just wanted to make a quick point of that as well, that Livin is actually just a great bunch of people doing some incredible things. So make sure when you do get some time, guys, you make the adventure to go over and check out what it is that they do.
Yeah, I concur with that and totally echo the sentiment. Livin, great people to be working with, and great message to be able to get out there. Definitely look into what they do. I think it's it's really beautiful that they are a part of this. Back to the task at hand though. Noble on a bit of a late setup here. Sorry, that felt like a really hard sidestep, but
No.
I just wanted to point out they're flexing all 4 bomb sites. It's something that we talked about Elevate doing on Coastline. It's now something that they are doing here on Kafe, and I think that just shows a lot of preparation and confidence in their setups. So
Yep.
it's going to be a real dangerous thing for Wildcard. I think right now it's going to be about just staying in touch, and again, it's going to be about a test of how's Noble's attacks on this map.
So, alongside that now, Wildcard, who have had the issues of flushing Noble out and really starting to engage them a little bit more. This time with Emo Rin on Cigar, does not wide peak balcony, funnily enough, but Geo will. And Wildcard will start to extend those fingers across that top floor and try to flush out these players, but Noble have a pretty solid setup right now. Oh, see you later. Oh, wow.
They've been hitting their C4 so far. It's Geo early again, so again, Buck is a really important operator for a lot of attacks on Kafe. Great at renovating floors, and with the sledge ban as well, pretty important. Good answer from Wildcard. Milo gets another, make it a 3 versus 3. Into the final minute, Wildcard are still just not getting anything easy to go their way. They are up against it at every step.
Would not agree more with that. And Emo Rin and Diesel now, they're left standing. Although that is a pretty terrifying sight against Nico, Fisho Guy, and Milo. All 3 players are pretty nutty. So this last 20 seconds back up against the wall for Wildcard. They 100% need to find a round amongst all of this. Are they going to leave it too late again? It's going to be Diesel trying to make the contact, but Fisho Guy will actually win that duel. Diffuser's down, and now Vinny's going to have to go deep on default and try and get that plant, but it looks as though Emo Rin can't hold the line, and Fisho Guy comes up massive once again for Noble.
Yeah, super well played from Fisher Guy on that. Just closed it out for Noble. He looks so solid in reading. That was 3 kills just from playing in that one little position, kind of running in between there. Fantastic. Noble are just looking dominant right now. Wildcard are trying to bring answers. Like they're trading out a lot of these kills, getting into positions, but they're just struggling to get enough control or an advantage to actually be able to secure a round. As things go, Matic, it feels like Noble might even get a flawless half at this rate.
Honestly, it is not even questioning it. Not even questioning it. Noble are looking very strong. I mean, what is it with tonight? There has to be a full moon. There's got to be a full moon out. There is something going on tonight that is making these matches absolute chaos and mayhem. But my goodness, it is welcomed. I'll tell you that much. I have thoroughly enjoyed my first day back on a Rainbow Six broadcast. That's to say the very least there, Raven.
Yeah, it's been very entertaining. I love a good old upset. I love underdog stories, and it feels like we've just had all kinds of stories happening tonight. So yeah, look, I think that's really cool.
10 seconds left
See how
before
it continues. But right now, it feels like the story is that Noble might get their first ever win against Wildcard in an official.
I think that we should probably. Oh, Geo. Oh, yeah, cheeky beaky. Like, oh, they've got so much information there. If that drone is still there, I mean, I don't know how much they're going to be able to do against it, but. Oh,
Almost went bad.
located by attackers.
No. Imagine that
I think
going
it-
sour.
I think it got stuck on like a piece of window as it fell.
Yeah, it
something
looked
like
like
that.
it.
It didn't look like it went far, but I like that. That's cheeky. I like that.
It's definitely, I mean, like, imagine that gets the opening kill. That would be a very nice way, once again, for Noble to start. It just, again, it looks like they're pulling out some of the, just the 1%ers, Raven. We've talked about it quite a lot. Well, we used to talk about it quite a lot on the broadcast, which is just those small 1% strats and opportunities that really turn the tide in a full match. And it feels like Noble have been able to pull it out 9 times out of 10 at the moment.
I just saw something that I really like, and that was just a mirror strategy down in Laundry, just to prevent any vertical control through reading. Like, they actually have to think about clearing out that Laundry position if they want to do so. I saw Derpe put it up late, so there's a couple of them playing around there. And it just means that Wildcard, if they want any control of Cocktail at all, they have to think about clearing this mirror to get verticals. So they're probably just going to push from Piano side and Cigar side, which is what happened all the way back in round 1, and they just didn't have enough control to plan to win the rounds. So could be a repeat.
Well, Noble are looking extremely good right now. Vinny drops to half HP, but will find Fisho, guys, so not for naught. Now, White Stairs, it is Derpe holding that angle. And it doesn't look like he's going to be contested just yet. Oh, Vinny!
But
Oh,
right now he is.
hello. There we go. Yep, that's the one we're after.
Jeez. Well, Derp actually got tagged up a lot more than I was expecting in that, given that Vinny was already a little bit low. But 4 versus 4, less than a minute. Again, this time is just evaporating before Wildcard's eyes, and they are still not really in that much control.
Oh my
much less now
word.
with Pad off the board.
What is going on? These C4s are unreal from Noble right now. Wildcard. It just feels like their number has been picked every single time. It's like they're an open book, and now they're going to have to try and find a way in, Raven. I just don't... Diesel's going to have to go deep on the back of a couple of flashes to try and support him. He can't get past the first player. It is Emo Rin that comes in from balcony, picking up 2 kills. Could this possibly be it? No, not just yet. Geo in a 1v2, 8 seconds left. Can't find a damn player and is running around like a headless chook trying to find anything. And Noble continue their flawless streak on this first side of Kafe.
Yeah, just absolutely incredible. It feels like everything that Wildcard are throwing at them, they're ready. Their C4 game has been on point. I haven't been keeping track, but there's been like 5 or something C4 kills, I think, which is a pretty significant number. Like, they don't really add up to a lot or a high percentage of kills, but I think that is pretty significant. And just in general, Wildcard just, I don't know, they just don't look like they are really figuring out what Noble's doing. Because at the end of the day, just then, they would just have, like, again, it came down to Diesel just rushing deep in bar, or like and repelling in through Cocktail balcony.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's just such a 50-50 scenario.
And that's twice now they've had to do that, which is just very uncharacteristic like of Wildcard, especially when you're looking at the ANZ region, obviously. You know, it doesn't... Typically, we see Wildcard at least pulling out a couple of rounds here and there, but Noble had... Whew, I mean, you'd be cheering. You'd be absolutely cheering for the squad right now, and quite... I mean, not even it's a potential. It is almost a thing. We are literally one round away from a flawless half in a game that Noble has never been able to win before.
Yeah,
obviously I'm talking about against Wildcard. I just wanted to make sure I made that abundantly clear. Like, obviously they've won a Rainbow Six game before, but like, you know, that that is an unprecedented victory if they are able to pull this out.
Yeah, look, they look very solid. Maybe this is just their best practice map with this new lineup, President being the new inclusion. Like I said in pre-show though, this was always a map that Noble have performed pretty well on. Wildcard as well. Oh my gosh, Fisho opens it up. Fisho with a double.
Oh my
this
god.
man with an SAS shotgun is an absolute lethal weapon.
Has Fisho just saved the round there for Noble? If Noble can pull this back in, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Emo holding the tight angle, but it is Milo that manages to catch out Vinny. A 2 versus 2 now. Eco down on red stairs. They're still being cautious of every possible angle. Emo is going to stick this at the moment. It doesn't look like Noble are going to be able to contest it in time. A little bit of the vertical play might be it, but Raven, this is to save what would be an absolutely incredible flawless half for Noble.
Attackers need to protect it.
Yeah, it's like Wildcard just said, we eat now. And they just rush site. They managed to get this plant down. It's a 2v2 retake right now. 20 seconds though, so not much time left. Noble to get this retake. They're all coming from the same direction. That air jab's going to really bugger it up. Emo Rin gets one. It's going to be out of the realm for Milo now, Manic. It is going to be a 5-1 half. Feels very reminiscent of earlier in the night.
Certainly does. I mean, Fisho guy nearly saved that entire round for Noble. He picked up the 2 on the entry and denied them prep access. If they had been able to hold on to that small angle into service, you know, the double door into service, they may have just been able to pull off what I would definitely have said is near impossible, which is a flawless defensive side against Wildcard in the ANZ region.
Yeah, 100%. But not to be. It's a 5-1 half, and look, if I'm Noble, I am incredibly happy with that because you're going to be putting so much pressure back on the Wildcard. Like, even if Noble have a bit of struggle with their attacks, they only need 1 to secure overtime, and then they just need to fall through into a second one to win the map. So it's a comfy position to be in.
Doesn't get... it can only go up like 10% of comfort from here, and that's if that's a flawless round. So there's you know, definitely put themselves in prime position here, but of course you definitely cannot take away from the fact that this is still Wildcard and they still have plenty left in this game. And I think that, you know, if you're already looking to count them out, I would literally just point back to the game the other night, literally on this map with Knights and Elevate. It is more than possible for that 5-1 to very quickly spiral out of control. So stranger things do happen, but will they happen? That's the question, Raven.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. Wildcard have gone for a... This site is really coming into popularity a lot more lately. I mean, it used to be popular back before Kafe rework, but here we are again, mining and fireplace. And see whether it might have thrown Noble off, not sure. They've got a pretty well-rounded lineup for almost everything on Kafe anyway. Really swift verticals from Nico too, down in kitchen. Already bucking that floor into train.
Well, okay. Depe wants to start Noble off on the right foot. Obviously, previously playing for Wildcard. Last 2 seasons ago now. That was... Is that a pre-fire through the window? I think it has to be, right?
I think it was. Yeah.
Well, that's that's as good as it gets, I guess. Yep.
Yeah, could have had intel. Solid pre-fire though, and look, that's a big player. It's Pat. Can have a lot of impact on that mute. Fisher guy is already on site. Walks into the line of sight of Chio though, holding a great pixel all the way from fireplace hole over here. Places out another Banshee.
What a shot. Oh, Nico! You would pretty much pick him to win that fight. That engagement, 9 times out of 10, unfortunately. The high ground is too much for him. Now, Noble just starting to open up these lines of sights a little bit more now. The use of Ace, which I think is the first time we've seen Ace used tonight.
He's had a lot of bans, that's for sure.
Yep.
Oh no, the whip.
Oh, no.
Oh,
It's the
whip.
Fast and the Furious Vin Diesel.
Diffuser has been dropped. Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Gosh. All right, Matic, 40 seconds to go. Noble, they've also had the troubles of stalling out here. They've always had some control around site, but they haven't been able to break in. Milo gets a good entry. It's traded. 25 seconds in a 3 versus 3.
Very nice shot from Emo Rin to deny that on the angle.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Now, Noble, can they step up at the moment they need to here? Diesel, obviously, well and truly above, getting some pings and looking for those easy shots. He can't find anything, unfortunately. Is he able to find it through the bottom of the flooring? Yes, he will. Geo will clean up Derpe as well. And what looked like could have been an interesting round for Noble turns into quite the clean round for Wildcard.
Yep, did work out pretty well. And again, Noble had pretty similar issues. They didn't have a whole lot of control. I mean, Diesel, you saw right there, was able to still play vertically above, had all the info he needed to be able to deny that plant. So that was all that said and done. But I got to highlight, you know, Noble do have quite a big lead here, so they can afford to drop a round or two in pursuit of just finding the ones they need to close the map out.
At this point, that's all it becomes, isn't it? It's a game of how close a wild card going to get before Noble kick into gear
Protect your bombs from being
and find the round that they're after. They've still got, realistically, they've got 4 rounds to do it, so not a lot of stress on them right now. Although, you let one round slip, the next round slips, and it just kind of snowballs out there. We'll wait and see with 20 seconds left in the prep phase for Wildcard. Of course, dining and reading in the site of contention.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It is going to come down to every round, my dude.
Definitely is. And I was going to say, we are yet to see Vince really make a scoreboard impact that we saw on Wednesday at least. I was just going to highlight, maybe that is down to him feeling a little, I don't know, extra nervous or something about being up against the old team, or just something in the back of his mind that's making him play not as well. I mean, of course, there's a lot more to the siege than fragging out, but generally that's what he's known for.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be unleashed, undoubtedly.
Located by attackers.
So, Noble not as interested in taking as long as what we've seen Wildcard in the past. Up the top of red stairs already. They are very methodical, flushing out a lot of these players. A lot of knowledge being given at the moment for Fish Show. Nicely
Great
done.
entry.
Emo Rin falls down.
A really good entry from Fisher, just super confidently up the stairs, had the info he needed. Great peek. Nico's been shut down though. Diesel tagged in the process. Does it even it out at least, albeit Noble having a slight HP advantage. Vincier still holding on to cocktails. Diesel has retreated to laundry. So still some good map control held by Wildcard as half the round has ticked away. Looks like we might get a bit of a pinch from the lower stairs from President here though. It looks like he's just a bit worried about something.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Just not enough information, I guess. Being very cautious in the approach, waiting for someone to peek, and not really happening yet. Derp just making Wildcard feel a little bit uncomfortable now. In comes the second nade. Fortunately, won't catch the top side. It's okay for now. President has made his way to the second floor landing, but Diesel will swing on the mute and disable President. 40 seconds left for Noble here, Raven. Time is of the essence.
Yeah, not sure about the white stairs funnel there that we saw from Noble. Milo, great pick onto Geo, 3 versus 3. Does make it still doable. They have the HP advantage here. Vinny above though, undetected. He can't hit his shot onto Fisho. Makes it tough, but Noble, they have to get moving. Try and get this plant down.
Well, the C4, my word, it's been shot out of the air, and not only that, Derpay's been able to shut Pat down and get out as well. And now it's all up to Derp. I don't know whether he's going to be able to get up in time. Diesel should be able to deny. Tried to make his way up of white stairs. That could have been monstrous from Derp had he been able to make that trek, that journey up the top of white. And it feels like these rounds are still quite close here, Raven.
Yes, they are. And look, that was a huge round from Diesel. He ended up on the quad kill there. And 3 of those kills he only had about 30 HP for. So, great stuff. Dug deep. A bit of leadership within the team there. You know, stepping up and closing it out for them. Great stuff. It was really close. The fact that Noble even got the plant down, I was actually quite impressed with. Yep. So, holding on is wildcard. Feeling like a bit of a comeback might be on, but still a touch early to say.
Dare I say comeback? Don't you say those words, Raven. Not just yet. Caster's curse is more than real.
Yes.
So, it is very much on the horizon though, and you feel that those first 2 rounds for Wildcard, as close as that second one may have been, or may not have been, depending how you see it in your eyes, it still feels like a bit of a lifetime away for Wildcard to bring themselves back into this game. It's not as if Noble haven't been challenging them. So the utmost care is going to need to be taken with each of these rounds, and there is little to no room for error here. Looks like they've got a lot of information into bakeries, so potentially they may not waste any time in taking that control, Raven.
Maybe. Keeping prep wall soft is a bit interesting there, but part of the strat. Very swift take of bakery. Fisho even thinking about pushing through prep here. This could be very deadly for wildcard, depending. I think they're going to be aware because of these flashes. The clear Diesel holding a nice angle onto it. But if they're able to flush Diesel out, I mean, he's really the only one on site. Geo's not far, but that's where you have to be careful with those rushes, because if they do get Diesel out, they could quite easily take this whole side of kitchen.
Have they been able to spot it out? Electric Claw just on top. Maybe the angle's just too strong. Nope.
Oh, they got it.
No, it's not. He's now going to be opening up those walls. Wildcard looks like they're going to revert from trying to play inside of kitchen and pull back to service.
This is where Noble has to be very careful of this vertical presence that Wildcard are still holding. Diesel holding a great presence on that long angle. Just walking into a bit of a trap now was Noble, not deciding to try and take any extra. Vitzig gets a knife just out of nowhere. Unbelievable. Derpay's on site now at least. They might be able to catch somebody off guard, but I think it's going to be tough to bring this round back for Noble.
Without a doubt. Feels the near impossible. You don't want to count out either of those players, though. They can potentially find one pick. Never know. Things could turn in an instant. Doesn't seem as though Wildcard are completely convinced of the positioning of where Noble are. That is a pretty important kill, taking down Pat, but the trade, well, it's all too strong, and Geo will collect the last 2. Wildcard, it is really getting close. And Noble would... be starting to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. It's 4 in a row now for Wildcard. Noble have still looked... That was definitely the weakest round, I'd say, that we've seen from Noble for the whole game. So Wildcard maybe are just really swinging that momentum. It was a little bit careless from Noble, I'd say, about that vertical. Maybe they had to do a bit more to flush it out. Even just presence on the mining window can go a long way. I don't know. I just felt like they needed a little bit more control. They were very swift with the bakery presence and prep. That was all great, but I just think they needed a little bit more before they tried to get that final push through.
Yep. Yep. They really didn't waste any time in that. I'm pretty sure there was barely even 20 seconds off the clock before Fisher Guy had made his way in. So,
yeah,
concur with that. They had plenty of time to at least make Wildcard a little bit antsy, try and force them out of position. That's okay. We are going to be going to dining and mining as that top floor presence, like we've said many times before, Raven, it is quite important to deny Noble access to. Try and force them to take those horizontal fights instead of the vertical encounters. And well, Noble nearly did exactly that in the previous round, but we saw how that went. So they will be forced to try and fight this should Wildcard stay up.
Surprising, Wildcard have not played Bar Cocktail yet. This is their 4th defense round. It's considered, for a lot of teams, probably still the favored bomb side or the first pick. But yeah, Wildcard are just completely skipping it right now in this rotation. It's not that common, to be honest. I can't think I've really seen many teams elect to just not play it. Maybe they're just saving it up for a bit later.
Potentially. We know that Wildcard have outwardly said that a couple of times on the interviews. Silex obviously not wanting to give away too much too soon. So there's absolutely no surprise in that. Diesel now with a little bit of information toward the top of red as well. And be able to get that drone down decently fast.
Not really been able to do much again with these vertical positions. So again, maybe they are electing to ignore. Saw someone sitting around the bottom of red. Looks like it might be Fisher Guy, and there's another one at mining window. But the rest of the presence seems to be coming from below. Just not quite sure the intention here, because Diesel in particular from above was real thorn in the side last time.
Oh. Cheeky beaky like. Was that all the way from red stairs? Surely not. It had to be.
Yeah.
Oh my
through the 2
word.
holes.
No way. Oh, that would be a pixel in it, surely. Surely he's not done that. Oh, and Emo Rin's gone down. Not out for the count, but nevertheless will still need to be picked up here. In composure here, Diesel will have to fall off the angle. Will he go for a jump out here? You bet your bottom dollar he will. Derpe, expecting it or not, will be caught out. And oh my word, it's an absolute bloodbath. Fisho Guy once again with a double kill. Gio's not done yet. Pat will come around for another one to add to the tally. And with Milo down, Nico needs to clutch this out. Lush will go out and he'll swing it. And it'll actually be Pat that closes out the round for Wildcard. It looked like Noble had everything in their favor, Raven. Just the pure raw strength of Wildcard showing on their defensive side now.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be it. I thought that was going to be the rounds that moved Noble to match point. I think they had a 4 versus 2 at one stage. But beautiful clutch from Wildcard. Just 2 great angles held. Maybe the mistake from Noble there was trying to go for that revive. Maybe the ignore and just push sight might have been the better option, but here we are. It is 5-5. The comeback has been on. It's basically Noble won 5 rounds in a row, and now Wildcard have won 5 rounds in a row. So we are all square.
Now we'll make a pretty simple statement. This is exactly where we found ourselves with Elevate and Pittsburgh Knights on Wednesday night. Before Pittsburgh Knights did in fact close it out. So anything is possible at this point in time, and Noble will be so hungry for this victory. I mean, you know, a win against Wildcard is a win against Wildcard. It doesn't make a difference. If you're able to take a map off them, you'd be absolutely cheering. But to take 3 points away from the top team in the region in a best-of-1 format where you've got 7 games to grab yourself the points, that's pretty large, if I do say so.
Yeah, definitely, and I think a lot of it is just going to be about it. This is a real benchmark for Noble. They've just been trying to increase their performance and their standings for a long time now, and last season was great for them. They finished in that top 4 for the first time ever, I believe, like the core of the roster. And so now it is just about that next step, and you know, Wildcard are the top ones. They're the ones with the target on their back. So you know what, like this would be the new benchmark if they do manage to get this victory.
There's a lot riding on it, and that's just to be completely blunt. There's 2 rounds to get it done in regulation, and then we'll be forced into OT. And does remain the question for Noble is how do they do under pressure? The new addition of President, and we're about to find out here. Vinny is just being a point for all of this utility and gets away as well, so they are going to continue to hold it though. Not really interested in allowing Noble to push them off. And they really don't like that top floor site, do they?
No, they really don't. They have so far still avoided it. All right, Noble push through into Cigar now, so they can start putting pressure onto this Pixel, but half the round gone. They really need to start stepping it up here. Pat's been tagged, but other than that, Wildcard not really too concerned with their positioning. They can hold onto this cocktail a bit longer.
Well, looks like Wildcard have just conceded there. Geo might be able to continue to waste time. Nope, not the case. In fact, it's Fisher Guy swinging from Cocktail that'll be able to find it. Some C4s coming up from below. Or potentially not. I actually couldn't really hear that too well, so my apologies if it wasn't. But Pat getting a fair bit of information here, Raven. Wildcard, are they set to make this work? That's the question. Oh.
Risky, because Pat is very low. It really is only 1 shot and he would be dead. So that was a pretty risky peek. Might have been worth it. 40 seconds to go.
Oh.
It's like Noble have good control, but this flank coming out could be real deadly. Immerin just not hitting any shots. It's Nico still in the freezer. He's very much aware of it. Vinny from the top gets a double. Great shot. Gets a triple, in fact. Finally shut down. Down to 1 versus 1. Manic. It is Pat versus Fisher Guy.
Oh, surely Pat's got enough to win this one here. The second Fisher Guy starts to plant. That should surely be the free kill from above, you'd have to expect. Pat now getting the information, should be able to run down White Stairs and take the free tag, but no. In fact, on a slither of HP, Fisher Guy knows exactly where Pat is. He'll now peek onto it. He has control of White Stairs. Pat will have all the information in the world, but it won't matter if he can't find this kill. The vertical play, Fisher Guy just moving as much as possible right now. A massive round for Fisher Guy to clutch out for Noble. He's done it before. He's done it time and time again. But this is where he needs to step up, and he'll take the 6th round for Noble. It took them 5 on the attacking side, but they convert around, and that puts immense pressure on Wildcard.
Huge clutch from Fisho, and he's actually having a solid map. I was just sitting here as that round progressed, and I was like, I think Fisho's got to be my MVP so far for this series, because he has just been taking huge gunfights and winning them so confidently. And I think it's something that Noble will probably going to be really analyzed about with losing Vinny. How is their aggression and their entry going to pan out? Because Vinny was really instrumental with a lot of that, playing from the IQ and sometimes the Ash role. But I think Fisher is doing a fantastic job in this match right now.
Without a doubt. I couldn't agree more. I feel like every time I watch Fisher Guy, he does some insane things, and there is no exception to that right now. And I think that's Vinny as well with that, what was it, a triple kill, was the only reason why Wildcard had the opportunity in the first place to bring it so close. And obviously, you know, there's a team call that comes along with that. Pat on the pulse, clearing out top white with that cardiac sensor and continuing to push on. And it was a great call, and it nearly turned the tide for Wildcard. But my oh my, it's these big moments that really count. And as I was alluding to before, every point matters at this point when it's those best of ones. There's no redos. And Noble could well and truly be looking at taking not only 3 points away from Wildcard, but just stepping an inch closer on that journey for the top 2, top 3 placing in ANZ.
Yeah, I believe if they do manage to close out the win here, I believe they'll be second behind Pittsburgh Knights. That's just my quick maths, so don't take that as gospel. But I think that's where it would be right now. Pat just got severely tagged up from some pre-fire. Gio gets a great shot onto Nico. That's going to be a big hole in the... What is going on, mate? There's just aggression everywhere. This might even be a rush in through Freezer.
Fisho, my word. We've literally just been talking about him. Does he expect another from Pillar Stairs? That's the real question. Now he does. He's going to know exactly where those shots came from. And Vinny, he's decided not to waste a single minute. They've actually moved completely away from that now. And I wonder if Wildcard have been forced back to side at this point. Vinny, surely still on that roam. There we go. Freezer hatch at the moment. We'll be able to deny a lot of the access through Freezer. And the run out as well. Vinny, what a read. That is unbelievable. And now he's going to deal with the player in VIP hitting those shots. He's absolutely nuts as he just turned it back once again for Noble. Rather for Wildcard. A 2 versus 2, Raven. This is coming down to the wire.
I don't think Diesel is going to be recoverable, see, right? I think it is a 2 versus 2. They've got a great crossfire now. This rotate, really good work. Vincia back in through the freezer. Noble trying to push to side. They're not aware of the flank. Rin will shut him down. Milo does finish Diesel off, but it is all up to Milo right now. With a minute to go, he's going to start the plant. Vinny is just around the corner.
Refire. Milo will stick it. Oh no, the impact came out too little too late. If Milo finds Emo on that rotate, it could be very, very interesting. But push comes to shove. Wildcard step up. And you have to say, in particular, once again, Vinny makes the play and gives them a leg up in that round.
Yeah, that jump out was absolutely huge, and he was not punished on the re-entry. I think that's a big deal there. You would have at least have hoped to be able to trade that out because it's a detected player. Like, you know exactly where they are. So the fact that he is able to stay alive, obviously a big deal there. Going to overtime now. It's back-to-back overtime maps for us, Manny.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Keen as a bean.
Also, I just noticed Noble managed to actually get 3 plants down through their whole attack half, whereas Wildcard only got 1, and that was in the last round in half number 1. But Wildcard got 2 disable victories, so what could have been for Noble?
Yep. If only. And there were, what, I think there were 3, you know, like 1v1, 1v2s for Noble, so...
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely you are definitely asking a lot of the individual Noble players at that point to step up in those instances. But like we saw with Fisho Guy, it's more than capable of doing so. And so to overtime we go. Potential 3 rounds is all we have to play with at this point. And Wildcard will continue on their defensive side, still not opting to go to that top floor. I cannot wait to hear from Silex.
Yeah, they must have some kind of beef with top floor, I don't know. I was just looking at the scoreboard. Fisher's on 17 and 10, so yeah, he's going
Holy smokes.
pretty nuclear for Noble. Which, I mean, we knew that, but it's, yeah, look, it's pretty substantial. So great stuff from him. Overall, I still feel like, even though, yeah, Wildcard just came back and tied it up 6-6, I still feel like Noble will have more control in this game.
Yep.
They just really weren't able to secure some of those rounds.
Nope. Not only would I agree, but I'm sure the stats would agree with that as well. So, 3 rounds is all it takes to decide the victor here. Everyone was hard pressing Wildcard to be the victors in this one. I think, what, 82% the community vote. All of us at Snowball were well and truly picking Wildcard, and Noble have taken them the full distance. So, can they finish it? Can they make this work? They've forced OT. And now only time will tell.
Pretty good progress from Noble so far, really putting a lot of pressure in towards White Hallway. 3 players around the top of that cocktail White Stairs area, though, will need to be flushed out. This Lion is a fresh pick here from Noble. That's going to assist them a little bit, but you know what? They have the perfect counter to that. There are mute jammers all on that top floor. That will help them be able to move around and kind of mask some of the effects of that Lion scan.
Oh my word, Vinny got ballsy there. Unfortunately, Derpe was ready for it and waiting. Emo Rin goes down in the meantime, so the 2 top fraggers for Wildcard right now are off the board. President, in the meantime, was traded out. 45 seconds. Noble have made pretty good leeway up top there, Raven. They might be able to apply a lot of pressure here to Wildcard.
Yeah, I got the man advantage, 30 seconds to go, but the players remaining on Wildcard are obviously danger players, but also they are ones with denial. Pat there with the C4. I think one of the C4s may have already been used. Diesel didn't bring one, but Geo, he's got smokes. There's definitely an opportunity right now. He's standing in amongst it. Oh, he's going to get not flushed, though. This is going to be very detrimental in his position.
Oh! Geo, that's a massive start. Oh no, Nico, he stepped up with 2. Geo, he holds the hard line. And now, what kind of play can he make? The diffuser's going down. Oh, he stopped it in time. Fisho guy can't get it down. The Buck was watching the line, tagged him up through the fire and flames. Geo pulls the round back for Wildcard. You just would not read about it tonight, Raven. You could not have written a better script if you tried.
I don't think so, no. I just want to say also, I feel like that was totally, I'm sorry Nico, but I feel like that was totally should have had AR moment. Because he had the DMR, and I don't know, I just feel like if he had the AR, might have had more of a chance to secure the kill when he shot through from Laundry, but maybe not, I could be wrong. But here we are. Let's see whether Noble can take it all the way to that last point. They have to dig deep on this defense. They're going bar cocktail. It feels like it's been an eternity since we've seen this site played.
Yep. Certainly does. Well, in actual fact, it had to be at least 7 rounds. And then whatever Noble decided not to play on top of that, or rather whatever Noble didn't, I shouldn't say opted, because they're pretty hungry to get back there. It's coming down to the wire. We are literally by the skin of their teeth. Both of these teams have somehow held on for...
10 seconds to go.
Oh, we're getting into 13 rounds, 14th round now. Oof.
5 seconds.
Yep, pretty full on. It's been a long game. And it's been very back and forth. I mean, it looked like Noble were just going to storm away with this match all the way in that first half. And then Wildcard have just come back so strong. And yeah, of course, led us to this point, and I honestly would not be surprised if this goes to 7-7.
Yep. The way everything's happened, how strong Noble's defense was. There are no questions, Vinny. Goodness me. Oh, you just know that he's going for that fight 9 times out of 10. Literally in one of the most important rounds of this entire game, Vinny is more than happy to take that peek. It just goes to show the confidence and really the skill to back yourself in that situation. I think Nico's been spotted by quite a number of drones now. Maybe Emo Rim might be able to catch him on the rotate.
Oh.
What?
Nope. I think the scope might have just blocked out Nico for long enough there where Nico was able to get that peek, so great job. This roam continues. This is going to stall out Wildcard. I mean, if a team is going to stall out from something like this, it's going to be them.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can find a way to push them back, if you can take that first kill, it slows them down even more so. It's a very good point, Raven. And a minute 25, will we see Wildcard inevitably pick up the pace and try and find something in return? Vinny now at the top of red. Still, it doesn't feel like there's a lot going on for Wildcard, but obviously slow and methodical they are.
Again, they're just waiting for Noble to try and make a mistake here. It's not happening. President just got tagged up pretty hard, as did Pat. Finished off by Diesel. They've just yeeted it now. They have this cocktail control. Rappel in, I'd say it must have been. Didn't quite catch it. Diesel's going to be able to get this plant down, it looks like. Not going to be confirmed. But they're not looking in great shape. I mean, there goes Vinny. Geo is low. Could be possible here, Manic.
Yeah, Vinny going down there. That's actually quite large. He was playing on balcony. He could have done a lot of damage. And now with Geo and Diesel, the only players up, both of them on cocktail. And with Diesel going down, Geo has to come up big. And he can't do so in a 3v3 post-plant situation. Noble will send us to the full round. 15 we are at, my friend. This is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, look, we said that it was totally going to happen, and here it is. It was Fisher Guy, of course, to bring it home as well. So I think I saw right at the end, maybe he's on like 19 kills or something crazy. But here we go, Kitchen cooking. It's going to be Wildcard on the defense. They did not lose it in their defense half. So let's see what Noble can bring out.
The distance has gone and been gotten, my friend. 6 pick from Derp off of the Maverick. We'll see a mirror on Pat and an IQ on Derp. So we head to Kitchen, which will inevitably be one way or another our last sight for the night. There's just no other way you knew this was going to finish.
No, it definitely feels very fitting. That's for sure. There's so many, I'm just looking at all these scores. There's so many players on the double-digit kills. It's pretty nuts.
Jesus. That is absolutely mental. What's that? 4 on Wildcard, 3 on WoW. Out of a possible 10 players on double digits, we have 7. And Pat is 1 kill away. Holy smokes. Yep. This has been... I mean, we predicted this to be a barn burner, but could we have predicted this? For it to have been this close, I just... Oh.
Yeah, it's really delivered. I thought this was going to definitely be the game of the night and be pretty close, but this is crazy close.
I think that was Vinny as well. It was. He just makes it back in time. How fitting it would have been for Fisho to have opened that up again. He has been nothing shy of incredible for Noble tonight. You have to take your hat off regardless of what happens to the end of this game. everything was left on the server for Fisher, that's for damn sure. I don't think you can really point a finger at any of these players and say that there wasn't enough done.
Trying to judge here what Noble's trying to do. Looks like, again, they're favoring most of a freezer push. They are going to have to be worried about dining control because you'll still be able to drop the hatch, be able to watch the run-in. Nico, though, gets Vinny. That's a great pick. Very important pick, in fact. That's the one playing around dining. Imorin is there to back him up, though. Noble giving themselves a good shot to be able to close this out.
Still a 4-minute 30 on the clock. Not only that, they've taken control of Bar. Noble are not really wasting a lot of time here. They've really done well in spreading themselves out. Geo, he's waiting for that lobby push. He's waiting for that one player to step through double door. Oh my word, the timing on the peak. Geo nearly goes insane there on the second kill. Unfortunately, he cannot confirm it. Raven, a minute left on the clock. There's one player on red stairs. Can Wildcard hold?
Yeah, this red stairs player is going to be able to deny the Selmas. That's pretty big because it means that it's going to be no line of sight or no access in through. Imorin has to be able to hold this position. Those castles in the way is going to be quite a big deal. So 2 on site to hold. Pat gets pushed from behind though. Fisher guy goes down in Freezer Manic 2 versus 3.
You could cut the tension with a knife. Imorin and Diesel, all that remain between the 3 points. Milo, he's going to go to stick this plant. President, he's watching the line from Freezer as well. The second he peeks out, he will be in trouble. Imorin looks to flank from behind through Red Hall. Hasn't been spotted as of yet. No information being given. So intense. Noble just hold strong. They hold where they're sitting. They manage to catch Diesel. It's all on the Imorin. A 1 versus 3. Surely Noble have not been able to do this, defying all predictions and all odds. Noble will take the map 8-7 in full overtime. An unbelievable performance. They take everything from Wildcard in this match.
Absolute huge performance from Noble. It's just their first half was just huge. It was fantastic. It looked like it was theirs. Valiant effort from Wildcard to bring it all the way back, but I just think Noble looks like the stronger team overall, and here we are. They get the 8-7 victory. Fisher guy in particular, it's hard to say that he would not be MVP from this match. I think he was so pivotal in them getting this result.
The first time that the roster Noble have ever beaten Wildcard, as far back as Raven and I looked. Could you believe it?
Yeah, look, it's really good for them because, like I said, they're constantly seeking that new benchmark, right? Like last season, they made it to top 4 for the first time, as far as I can remember, at least. Not something I looked into, but now they've finally been able to beat Wildcard. They are going to be sitting in top 2. They will be behind Knights, just based on round difference at least. But look, they're sitting in top 2 position now. That puts Wildcard out of the top 2, which obviously it's only 2 play days in, but 2 of 7, it starts to get significant pretty quick.
And that's one thing, again, that we were kind of highlighting throughout the matches. It really is only 7 matches, and one can make the difference. Obviously, you know, we're not in any worry whatsoever for Wildcard to not make the playoffs or anything like that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, these are the kind of moments that a team like Noble will take and run with, right? That is an incredible way for them to have set up the start of their season.
Yeah, huge. And that's going to help give them a lot of confidence for almost the rest of their fixture. Wildcard, as we said, they are the top team. They're the ones that are going to have the target on the back. So to be able to get the victory against them, that can just do huge things for your confidence in the rest of your matches.
I'm still pretty gobsmacked, in all honesty. I think that was
it's pretty nuts.
After a 5-1 first half for Noble. I'm not going to say the ribbon was being put on it, but did not expect to be headed to overtime. And with Wildcard on their defense in that last round, my oh my, they really made that. They milked that for all that was worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I was not too sure that Wildcard would be able to bring it back because their form coming out of that first half wasn't great. And even the rounds they were winning in their second half, they were close. Whereas when Noble were winning in the first half, they just looked really strong.
Yeah.
So I just really felt overall that Noble were going to close it out. And I mean, they did, but Wildcard seemed to have started to play back into some form as the match went on. Obviously, it just didn't prove to be enough.
Certainly wasn't. Tell you who did prove to be enough, though. Nico. We've got him on the line. Let's hear what he has to say. The man himself. Congratulations. What a gut-wrenching game to play through. I think I've got to ask you, because that was insane. How are you feeling at the end of that?
Oh, I'm pumped as usual. The team is absolutely hyped right now, obviously. I don't know. I've never really like. I don't know. I don't know how to react. I'm happy. That's all.
Oh, that's good to hear you're happy. And look, I'm not surprised. An 8-7 match in general is just like, oh my god, what just happened? But the fact you guys just beat Wildcard probably makes it a whole lot sweeter. So I'm sure it'll take a little bit of time to sink in. Look, tell us about the match. You guys went out to a huge lead. You looked very strong in that first half. And the Wildcard started to bring us back. So maybe just talk us through what started to change and how the team were dealing with that.
Yeah, well, obviously, like, you have those, like, emotions taken. The second you're, like, 5-1 up, and you kind of just... all previous mentality, as much as you don't want to admit, it sort of starts to, like, break down. And obviously, with the defense-sided, like... I wouldn't say it's defense-sided, but, like, both teams' defenses are pretty decent. It's very easy to break apart someone that's so, like, a team that's just, oh, we've got it in the bag, we're winning, like that kind of that mentality. It's hard to get out of that, is what I'm trying to say. So they did well to completely just dismantle our attacks, just destroy us. Like, although some rounds came pretty close, that's kind of like the rounds themselves were very close, and the whole game as itself was very close. So it's the win just doesn't feel right. But I'm glad you come out that top. So
I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really think I have any specific questions that I can even ask you that would be able to be answered in a way that would be coherent or understandable at this point, because that was an absolute barn burner for us to be able to watch, and I'm sure the viewers at home enjoyed it. Was there anything you'd like to say, just, you know, kind of to top it off? I think this Raven said that this is the, you know, we were doing the research before the match. This is the first time that the roster has beaten Wildcard since before Raleigh Major. Is that correct, Raven?
Yeah, I went as far back as Raleigh Major, and it's only been like 2 draws since then, so never a dub. So congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, so is there anything you'd like to say before we close out?
I'd just like to thank Noble as a whole, the org, recently, like, just coming in, swooping us up, supporting us. Big thanks to all my teammates, really. Like, I couldn't have done that without them at all. So that's all.
That is a fair enough statement, to be honest, mate. Well, congratulations on a well-earned victory, and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really know, like, what you'd even say at that point. Like, it's gone well past the stroke of midnight. I know we're only heading in the game hours right now, but, you know, it's a late series. It's gone deep into overtime. That's pretty incredible, if I'm honest.
Total whirlwind. I am not surprised that Nico had not fully absorbed, like, what happened and what was going on. When you're in those kinds of matches, it feels like you're just in it for so long, and when it's over, it doesn't feel like it's over. I definitely can empathize with that. So, yeah, and the time, obviously, like you said, after midnight doesn't help that. But yeah, I think they can look back on this and be really happy. Of course, they didn't do so great in the second half, but at the end of the day, I felt like overall their map on Kafe against a Wildcard was really good. I think there were so many positives for Noble to take forward for the rest of their season.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, if they can continue to replicate a lot of it, I don't see why they wouldn't hold a top 2 spot.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's, we had questions about them coming into this season because previously when we saw Sinister pick them up, we were asking questions around their performance in the early season, and it felt like there was a lot of pressure on them to perform for an organization. And we were literally saying on the reload about, Noble coming in and picking them up, and whether it would be, history being repeated, or whether it was kind of like a burning desire for them to be able to pull together. And I think that, the Ferox game, you can kind of throw that away. They still won that 7-5, but to come in and to take Wildcard all the way and to do it in the way that they did, I think that speaks volumes about the roster at the moment.
Absolutely. I think it just must help them so much to be able to get such a significant victory to show that they've moved in a positive direction. Things are going well. And I think even for somebody like President, who's new to the roster and, as we said, new to competing at this level, I think just to be able to experience this would do wonders for his confidence about moving forward. And that can really help players like that progress and start to really learn and develop. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot of good things that have come from this win, besides the fact that they just got points. But I think there's a lot of additional benefits and positives that will come out of this for them.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got Silex on the line to have a chat with him about the performance. Silex, it is very good to see you. Unfortunately, not on the best of terms, but I think still at the end of the day, it was a very close match. And I think to begin with, I'm going to ask probably a question that Raven should be asking, but the top floor defense, are you hiding something, or is there a reason why we didn't see that played?
Well, firstly, Wamai's banned, so it kind of makes holding picks a little bit harder without as much utility denial. And in more recent times, it's become it's been played so often, people know how to attack it reasonably well. And yeah, it's becoming one of those more weaker sites.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair enough. I would just love to hear your thoughts on what went wrong for you guys. Obviously, coming into this, you would have been feeling confident. Of course, not a really good team, but knowing you guys, you can feel confident in your game. They got out to a flying start, so was there something in particular that really caught you off with their defenses, or?
We were just trying to play our game, but in doing so, we were being a bit too slow, a bit too cautious on the attack. And we were probably playing into Noble's hand a bit. They obviously would have watched our Kafe game on Wednesday, watched our tendencies, and picked off a lot of our players really early on. And it really hurt us because we couldn't play vertical as much. We'd get C4'd a lot. They took out Geo on a lot of those rounds, who was our buck. So we were unable to get picks for ourselves as well, which made attacks pretty hard. And on top of this, we're not winning our one-on-one gunfights, which really, when it comes down to it, you need to win gunfights. And I think I only counted one round where we had a clean opening frag, which put us in man advantage. I think 14 out of 15 rounds, Noble had a man advantage. So even with that in mind, we won 7 rounds. So our mid game to late game is pretty strong, I think. It was just our early game, which we really need to work on.
I'd love to hear, just before we let you go and go and rest and recoup, I'd love to hear the mentality that you guys have going into the second half. Obviously, 5-1 down is no easy task whatsoever. What are you kind of talking about? What's the team saying when you're coming into that second half, knowing you're going onto the defensive side of Kafe at 5-1 down?
You just got to take it as it comes. 5-1 down on Kafe, it's nothing really unheard of. Kafe is obviously a defense-sided map, so you just got to gotta really hit it hard on the defense side, make every single round count.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, I think that's really all we wanted to be able to have a chat with you about. So, Alex, obviously, we want to let you go and rest and recover from what is now a late night. But thank you very much for joining us, mate. Unfortunate that it's ended the way it has for you, but we will see you next Wednesday when you get to do it all over again.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Always good to see him. Always good to see Silex. I think that,
from everything that we know about the new roster of Wildcard, it seems like no matter what kind of happens, they're never really too flustered, if that makes sense. Like most of the times that I've spoken or heard from them, it's never, you know, even in the face of defeat, it hasn't been all doom and gloom or anything like that. I still do find it interesting that the game was, not only was it as close as what it was, but that they kind of had fallen over the hurdle at the last step on those last couple of rounds.
Yeah, it felt like with the momentum they'd brought from that second half and even winning that first round of OT, it did feel like they might have been able to just hold on. But
yeah,
again, credit to Noble, they played fantastically all series. So I think it was a real, I'm not going to say coin flip at the end of the day, but I think if either team was to win, it would have been totally deserving.
Yeah,
just went the way of Noble this time. I'm sure Wildcard will just take it in their stride, as they are obviously a very experienced side. And I think come the end of the season, they'll probably just look back on this and like, oh, it was just a close game. They lost against a good team.
Yeah.
So there's not much you can argue with that. It's not like they lost to a team that should be like at the bottom, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, for the viewers at home, I wouldn't be mad if you'd forgotten about all the other games after that long-winded game. So let's have a look at what we saw tonight. I promise you right now, I would never have put my money on this looking the way it does. 7-3 from Ferox on Okami. The 7-1 against LFO, Rhythm almost taking the map away from Elevate, and then Noble in the end taking the game from Wildcard. What an unbelievable whirlwind of a night, Raven.
Absolute mad evening. None of these games, I mean, Wildcard Noble is probably the game that went as much to be expected in terms of how close it was.
Yeah.
But the result is definitely not something we predicted, and then every single other game was just, yeah, it was just a nuts evening of Siege. I am still blown away, and I'm really excited for the season if this is the kind of stuff that we have in store.
Yep, talking about the season, let's have a look at the standings. Of course, Pittsburgh at the top, just underneath them, would you believe it, it's Noble. Now that's a sight to see. And tapering all the way down to the bottom, we've got Rhythm and LFO looking at the relegation playoffs. There are still 5 matches to go for every team, and that is something that we really need to keep an eye on because it quickly dwindles out the opportunity to grab points. And Rhythm bringing it so close to Elevate tonight, but not being able to get it across the line, that could be detrimental to their season, Raven.
Yeah, it really could be, and that's the thing. I mean, it usually comes down to that with most seasons, is sometimes it can take one match, and that will be the points that you needed to get through. But especially because of the short format, every match counts right now. So if Rhythm and LFO continue a lose streak, it's definitely going to be scary territory for them.
Yeah, and the problem is for LFO as well, they still have 2 of the best teams coming up. So they have not had the easiest of trots, we'll say that much.
Yeah, no, they really haven't. But at the end of the day, like, everybody plays everybody, so
yep.
It should balance out by the end of the season. It's just it should. But of course, the factor there is just about like the mental fortitude. They have to be able to get through those matches and just be realistic, you know, like look back on them and be like, okay, well, we just lost the top 4 teams, but we should win the rest of our games. And if they have the mental fortitude for that, then they'll be able to climb back into where they potentially are realistically meant to end up.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more with that, Raven. But do you know what time it is?
What's the time?
It's time to close the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you along in this mental night of unbelievable matches. We will be back next Wednesday. Make sure you check out the socials, and we'll see you next time.
But you bring me back from my darkness black. It's the soul in me and the heart I had for you. It bleeds for you, it bleeds again. Oh, you bring